So hello, everybody. Another wonderful episode of Frontrunners Innovate with a familiar face, Dr. Osita Aniemeka, and a new face, Pauline Koelbel. And Pauline is with ShEquity. And I am going to do just a little bit of intro to her because I want you to hear from her later. And then after I get through with that little intro, I'm going to bump it over to Dr. Aniemeka and have him introduce himself. But today's conversation is wrapped around impact and in specific ways. And I think you're going to enjoy and appreciate the conversation flow. So Pauline is in Zurich, number one to know. Okay. I don't know that's home proper from years past, but she's been all over the place, I think. Double Fulbright scholar. That's an interesting label to have, and she'll tell us a little bit about that. But she's an impact investor, and she's really pushing that whole movement forward. And I can't wait to hear her share with you about what she's doing with ShEquity. And so what we want to do is talk about gender and climate and social and environmental impact with Pauline and the way that she's doing it with a focus on Africa for sure. And that is where Dr. Aniemeka comes in. Dr. Aniemeka is a business partner of mine and a longstanding front runner. We have done projects together. We still do projects together. He's my brother in Abuja, I should say, in Nigeria. And he is the co-founder of the Sub Saharan Open University with his brother. He is traditional royal. And there's the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with all of that. I think you have a lot of responsibility with that. And when people know that, then interesting things happen. But he can move mountains. He's been working with a lot of the large NGOs and has a history of working in agriculture and education that is influential and impressive. And so I'm going to let him say more about all of that now, so you get to know my co-host before you get to know Pauline. So Dr. Aniemeka, if you'll take it away.
Okay, thank you. My name is Osita. Like you heard, I am typical Nigerian, busy, doing all sorts, and then hoping that I bring some impact. I use the word impact to my country because that's all it takes. When we hear stories about Nigeria, it's not about the projections that was hard for it years ago. There was a time people were saying that Nigeria will be the biggest economy in the world. That changed because of poverty. So poverty made Nigerians do what they do now that is very popular. But we're right here in the country working very hard to change all that. So yes, I am an enterprise builder. I work for the Central Bank of Nigeria center called Center for Vocational and Entrepreneurship Development. And then I have been able to ask Mary several times to help bring global mentors to my trainees, which is a very useful step because when the mentors are from the environment, it doesn't quite change much because what they know is what they see. What is also very important is that lately we started thinking about food security. We have an alliance now called the Alliance for Food Security Action in Africa that has been able to help people get funding for the aspects of agriculture that they're in and how they can transform from farming to production and to food. So yeah, many more things that we can talk about apart from having been a college professor. And then I'm happy, very happy, and very, very enthralled that you're here, Pauline, so that we can hear from you. Mary has a way of doing that with me. Hear from you, get to know where you are now, where you want to go, and how you want to reach out to Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. I see that. So this is going to be a good conversation. Pauline, we need to hear from you. And I really love to find out people's why. So if you'll start with a little bit of your background and what brought you through, and be sure to hit that double, Fulbright scholarship thing in the middle of all that, so we can figure out how that happened. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. It's really great to be connecting with you, Osita, and reconnecting with you, Mary. So the why. So my why is very simple. It's actually paying it forward. So you again probably ask another follow-up why. So you introducing me talking about how I'm a double Fulbright, which means I was a Fulbright scholar, and then also I was a Fulbright fellow. I did my Fulbright scholarship in the UK at Sussex University, where I was getting my grad studies. And then when I finished, I got another Fulbright to go and work for UNESCO, which opened really the world for me entering into the UN system with no struggle. And at the end, being able to go from there to work for the World Health Organization in Geneva, and the journey that basically led me here. So that's how I got where I am. But the paying it forward is really linked to how I got to all those things. So I was born and raised in Rwanda, a very beautiful country that strangely is known as Switzerland of Africa. And I ended up living in Switzerland. I joke that Switzerland is the Rwanda of Europe, because we have all those kind of references about the countries. And so I left Rwanda not because I wanted to come to Switzerland or to the US, just because I needed to survive and actually run for my life. So it was during the genocide in Rwanda in 1994. So I consider myself one of the lucky people, because I'm here, I'm talking to you. But also I'm leading a life that I dreamed to lead a long time ago. So to cut the story short, from when the war happened, and then there was that led to the genocide, I left Rwanda and ended up finding myself in a refugee camp in DRC Congo. And they are basically, you become a number. I always say, even your worst enemy, you don't want to wish them to become refugees. Because what happens if you become a problem for everyone that no one wants to solve. Everyone talks about you, but at the same time, when you are in front of them, no one wants to know your name, your dreams, where you came from, your future, whether you have one, or you're just a number. So, but I didn't really become a number forever. So that's why I'm here, right? So I was among the lucky one from DRC Congo. I managed to get to Kenya. It's a long story. And then from Kenya, I went to Senegal, another long story. And from Senegal, I immigrated to the US as a documented refugee. So that's really a key word, documented refugee, meaning I arrived to the US legally with documents. I was sent to Tucson, Arizona, a place I still hold dear to my heart. That is my other home away from home. And I had to start from zero. I went to school. I'm a wildcat, went to University of Arizona. Was lucky to meet people who really took me in as one of their own. My professor became not just a mentor, but also took me to their home, inspired me, coached me. And so that's why when I finished my school, I actually did really well. It wasn't because I was super smart. I think it was because I was coached well, but also I had a good professor. So I credit my success to my mentor, my professors. So by the time I finished, I got all kind of awards that the university had to give, including the Honors College Award that is given to only one student, including what they call Centennial Award, given across the whole university. And here we're talking about University of Arizona. It's quite big. It's a very big university. So, but they give award to one woman and one male. So I got the female one. Many other awards. And then, I had applied for a Fulbright scholarship because I wanted to find a way to really gain all the skills I need, but also connect with the people I need to connect to actually go back to the continent and support my sister, my brothers. And to your point, Osita, I actually already believe that what I went through was not because what people talk about tribe stuff, was because of poverty. And also the inequality that has been growing. So my intention was that once I can make it, once I have the skill set and the credential I need, I want to go back and try to contribute to my continent. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. Fast forward, I realized it wasn't about development or aid, it was about actually unlocking the potential for people like all of us who needed to be able to get access to financial and other tools they need to take care of themselves.
What a story. And even when we talked the first time, I'm not sure I realized that you had been shifted from one place to so many places before you ended up in the United States. That's quite a journey that you were on, and probably very frightening in some respect. So it gives new meaning to all of us who hear about refugees but don't really know what all they go through, which is interesting. I actually partnered with a refugee camp in Malawi to redo my website, because there's an enterprise from the US that works with them to do that. And I thought it was interesting that the guy who did my website was from Burundi. He was not from, and most people were not from Malawi. They were from all over Africa. So interesting stuff. Talk about ShEquity a little bit, so that Osita gets some knowledge, some base knowledge about what you're doing now with that and through that, and any programs and projects attached to that, if you will.
Yeah, sure. So during my professional journey, I worked again, as I mentioned, from a UN organization, and then I worked for private foundation. What I learned around the journey is really realizing that no country has ever developed without betting to only their own people, and also because they depended on aid. So I learned very quickly that if we wanted to unlock the potential for our people, we need to be providing them the financial tools they need, but also other kind of tools they need to go out and run their businesses. And also what I learned was about the gender funding gap that exists globally, that it's even deeper in Africa. So in Africa, we're talking about 42 billion gender funding gap. That actually it's increasing. Since I started, it's not even going reducing. And also the fact that when you look at the continent has younger people and other people actually setting up businesses because they realize the potential the continent has. And most of them are, qualify as a small and medium enterprise. And they represent the majority of really people contribute to African GDP, somewhere in the range of about 70% of African GDP comes from this group. And guess what? 40% of those SMEs are owned and led by women. And at the same time, as I mentioned, the women are facing this 42 billion gender funding gap. So was it clear for me, like if I wanted to add value, do something that can make a difference, I needed to go back now to the network I built around the globe, because I pride myself to be a global citizen. It's not just I live in Switzerland, this is one of my home. It's not just that I mentioned Tucson. Tucson is one of my home. And I was born and raised in Rwanda. I navigate different, places comfortably. So I feel like I can add value to my people on the continent, but also my people in Switzerland and my people in the US. So I wanted to bring them together to really seize the value, the unique value that African has to offer. At the same time is also what and Osita can perhaps also add to this. I wanted to create a platform where we can also somehow change the perception that an African woman needs help, or an African woman who's an entrepreneur needs microfinance. So basically, ShEquity, it's a gender lens fund. They're investing in innovative, scalable, and impactful businesses that are what we call gender smart. By gender smart, we're talking about businesses that are either owned or led by women, businesses that are gender diverse, or a business whose value chain are impacting women. And because I believe that when you have a gender diverse team, but also in general diverse team, you only win, because it means you have a team that understands the people you're servicing. With ShEquity, we now are raising a new fund. So we have done a pilot fund where we have done 11 deals across different markets in Africa, in Nigeria, in Ghana, Benin, Zambia, Kenya, and South Africa. We have also worked towards getting women to become investment ready, a project called Shiba that was funded by USAID in West Africa. So through this program, which was focusing on investment readiness, getting women to become ready for investment, we have worked with 150 women on and led business in West Africa. So this whole experience had led us to move to the second phase of our fund, which is a fund that was structured now based in Mauritius. And we are raising 30 million fund, focusing still on gender smart businesses, by doubling down on sustainable businesses. We're looking at funding businesses that are addressing climate challenges across key value chain like agriculture, food system, water management, mobility, energy, and as well as nature-based solutions. So we believe that the future of Africa and also the future of the world depends on us funding, all of us collectively being able to move the capital in the hands of gender smart businesses that are not just building for today, but building business that lasts for long term, that are sustainable, because this is the world we have. We need to preserve it. And women are actually working towards that. We just need to move the capital to the right direction.
Osita, you have any comments or questions at this point? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah, this is quite interesting because just last night we signed an MOU with a group called Women in the Environment Association, YA. We are looking to create a possibility for environment and smart agriculture to be able to lead the food scarcity issues in Nigeria. And when we're going to Ghana, we're going to Kenya, we're going to Kampala, to Uganda, a place beyond Kampala called Mukono. And then we're coming to Rwanda. Oh, this is amazing, because when I tell my team this, that I spoke with Pauline today, and that when Mary gives me the recording, I'm going to share with them, they'll be screaming, because two things have happened to us. Two things, and they relate to what you just said. West Africa is becoming inundated with sluggishness because of leadership. We have become so slow and so unproductive. That's the right word, really, unproductive. But we're looking at where we can give examples to the rest of the world that Africa is not slow. Africa, yes, very proudly I say that. I became a Ford Foundation scholar in 1998, and I was looking at the international issues in communicating around Africa. And what we have not been able to say from there till now was that we don't tell ourselves the truth. We don't. We keep, shouting praises to wrong leadership just because it favors us and we have the microphone to say it. So in East Africa, we have found that most of the governments there are particularly innovative in their own way, but it's the stability that they bring to the people that makes them attractive. So how Rwanda rose from the ashes of genocide and came to what you describe now, it's peculiar, and we want Africans to see it in that light. So for gender, yes, this is just the morning. The fact that women's rights have been denied, the fact that people look at them differently. I am proud today to say, Mary, I wanted to share this with you earlier today, that my first daughter, Lala, has been made an ambassador, UN ambassador on gender priority, yes, GPS, yes. And then her focus is the girl child, transitioning the girl child to womanhood. Do you know what she does? For the last 17 years, she has been the pageant chaperone for girls. So
Wow.
every year she gets a queen and the rest. So this rest, they go home frustrated because they didn't win the crown. And what do? They become recluses. So it's taking her and her platform called Crown to losing all that. So AFSA is going to work with her to create an opportunity for these young girls now to go from being young to being young farmers and becoming young women, women farmers. So these are the issues that are very, very important to us. We are talking to you today, even knowing you, makes it a lot easier to tell people that we are not crazy. Because when they hear that we're going gender, They say, what is wrong with you? You know, this is, I said, no, just let it be. Because for me, I told Mary this long time ago, I think about 4 years ago, I have been very successful with women. I came out of a single parent kind of family, and it was woman. My father was polygamous. Mary told you that I come from royalty. It's polygamy that they know them for. Multiple mothers, but my mother was particularly ready to raise us, and I was I was born into a family of just myself and 3 girls. So you can imagine how I feel about women not getting their places, because they had shown me beauty. I came out of the Biafran War because I survived, while we were there in camp with people who understood what it takes to survive. Survival is not gender focused, Pauline. Survival is the make of the person who wants to survive. Some of my friends died in the war, not because they were hit by bullets. Not because but because they just couldn't handle it. Wars are wars, yes. So yes, please. I am so happy that this is really very beautiful. When Mary told me about you, I said, okay, let's do the, but she didn't quite tell me that this is my African beautiful sister. It's going to touch me the way none has taught me, because your story is peculiar, very peculiar.
It's special.
And yes.
Right, it took people like you, and I think, if I may, Mary, and also Sita, to add, like, for men who are listening to us, we're just saying that actually we need to realize how we all benefit when we include everyone. It's not about just including women and excluding men. It's realizing that, especially for a continent like Africa, where anyone who's African or been to African continent, we realize the role women play. And I say this with all, to be corrected, I have lived again in different countries. I've traveled the world. I haven't seen a woman on the other continent who's driving things from our angle like an African woman. And so, and at the same time, in a global, in this other side, we keep talking about sustainable development, empowerment, in a way that we think we need to go and empower an African woman. They have the power. They tell us what they need. We just need to give them what they need. And we need to realize, if we give them the tool they need, we can go and rest, because they're going to take care of their family, their kids, their community, because statistically, it has been proven that women reinvest about 90% of their income revenue into the project that benefits everyone, comparing it to about 40% by men. The facts are there. And so it's really a question about inclusivity. And I'm highlighting this because I have heard some backlash where people saying, hey, now it's all about women, what about men? No, men are there, we need you. And that's why I'm so happy to be talking to you, Osita. We can't go far together. This is an African proverb.
Thank you. Thank you. Mary, also remember that for SSOU, we were planning the Sub Saharan Africa University. By the way, SSOU, the university, we don't award degrees. Is a development institution. As we call it a disruptive learning community, where we do things that are out of way. Like now that AI is prominent, we're trying to see how we can get the opposite part of AI, the proper part that will help Africa. Our slogan is that we're developing smart Africa. We're accelerating small Africa. Women had become very important in that program because, believe it or not, this might sound condescending. The young girls that were brought out of poverty in the last 4 years have been doing coding, simple things like coding. They didn't quite finish school, but they are very successful because they became, unlike the boys, they saw the challenge. That's the way what I was looking for. They saw the challenge. They said that if this boy can do it, I can do it. So we said, okay, do it. And he did it. So you see them as a cluster, of girls in coding that you begin to wonder, why didn't I think about this all along? Why have I always thought that it's the voice that would, that would do the coding? So for enterprise leasing too, we have been able to find out that our best entrepreneurs, Pauline, and I say this with so much pride, our best entrepreneur, and I mean best by record, by the fact that they take loan, and they return the loan. There are women,
with the highest return I can imagine as well.
With the highest return rate and the highest employment to their enterprises. Because these are the yardsticks for which we check. CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, will say, how many have you trained? How many are women? How many have done this? How many have done this? So from all the boxes, the greatest fun we have is to get a woman stand before us during what we call the exhibition, tell us about what she had done in the last 1 year. She stands there and she's not just telling, she's giving examples, and she's calling names. And you know what they do because they are women? They bring those examples as evidences to the program. No man had ever done that. They will stand there and they are calling Rita. They are calling whatever. These are people that they train hair plating. This thing that they do with hair, how to fix it, cosmetology. What is it called? Tailoring. Change is already coming. And that is because, yes, we didn't say, no, we didn't. We were gender sensitive. We were specific that we would try them all out. And I'm happy. Coming from a family of women, my father married 5 wives because he was looking for male children. You know how many male children he had eventually before he died? 4. You know how many girls? 21 girls. 21 girls. So I cannot come from that kind of family and not look at gender with respect.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm not sure I ever heard you say that.
Mary,
before.
I didn't tell you this. Yes, son of a king. We have all the privileges of doing whatever we like, but the issue was, what are you doing with what you have? All the privileges you have, from royalty. What have you done with it?
Yeah.
So it takes my UN programs for them to attach Prince for me, His Highness Prince Osita. If you see me walk the street, you never know. Yeah. Because it is not important if it is not helping.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Yes, that's the truth. So yeah, I am so happy. This is a blessing for me. I'm so happy that this
is a Merry Christmas. Mary, I love it.
It's a Christmas coming area for
Christmas
God.
No, you hear the result of this, Mary, because I'm going to work with Pauline. I'm going to find out what she can do with Crown, what she can do with our women farmers. And then by the end of the day, we'll form an alumni of the people we have helped so that they can become another group that are helping other people.
That's that pay it forward piece.
Yeah,
I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I want to make sure we give Pauline a couple minutes to give us some direction on where she's going next, because I have a feeling that also is going to open some doors. What are you looking to do next, and what kind of help do you need to get you there? So
yeah, so what we are busy doing right now is basically raising the $30 million US fund I mentioned, and at the same time working on making sure that we continue to tell the story, get people to invest in Africa. So there is always this perception of risk when people are thinking about Africa, which is why, Mary, when you're asking me to be on this podcast, I was super excited, because sometimes we focus on money, but maybe the question is not just about money. So we know people invest in people. It's about trust. It's about knowing the market. And so we busy while we are fundraising, also telling the story about how investing in gender smart business is not a charity, it's a smart business. We're showcasing the example of the type of business we're investing in. We also showcasing the fact that for everyone who's interested in the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, we all know 2030 is in the corner, right? And I always joke, when I was doing my Fulbright, in the UK, that time we were talking about Millennium Development Goals. Actually, I took a class that was taught by Jeffrey Sachs, who's the person behind.
Yeah.
Yes. who was behind this Millennium Development Goal. And I joke about how now, somehow we didn't achieve them and we changed the name. Now we're almost like 2025 next soon. And with the past we have, we're probably not going to achieve them. I will not be surprised that we change the name again. But in Africa, people like us, people like Osita and myself and you, Mary, we can't afford playing the name game. We need to take action. So right now, Africa offers a unique opportunity for making money, but also achieving the highest impact. It doesn't matter what do you do in the US, what I do in Switzerland, other market. If we don't create sustainable business and sustainable opportunity in Africa, which is the fastest growing continent with the youngest population, you have everything there. We're not going to meet the climate goals, the target we have, we're not going to meet them. So investing in Africa basically offers all kind of opportunity you want. You make your money, you get us closer to meeting the climate targets, but also we achieve the sustainable development goal. And then plus, so when you look at the different SDGs, and actually you focus on SDG 5, which is the gender equality one, you can see how empowering economically women can lead to achieving healthcare, security, reducing inequality, partnership. Basically,
it hits several of the goals by hitting that one.
By hitting one, you basically create a cascading effect that you have that turnkey approach to achieve this. Again, so fundraising, looking for partners who are interested in working with us to, again, generate the financial tune they need, but also at the same time, they have the highest impact on the continent. We also, because the experience we had with SHIBA program, which was funded by philanthropic money from USAID, it showed us that it's also important to continue to support businesses to become investment ready. And it only works when you link this with the fund. Us having the fund, having SHIBA, it creates that systemic investment approach, which means basically, just supporting people and they have to live and jump around looking for money. That with the systemic investment approach, which is a part of our strategy with our SHIBA program, we can support more gender smart businesses that become a pipeline for our fund, but also because the role we play in the ecosystem on the continent, but globally, it means we can also bring other people with us. So this is not a game for one person to win and go and play. It's really a collaboration if we truly want to achieve the goals that we talk about, but also if we really want to make money, because it comes down to what do you want. For, again, the African continent, I think the time is now where we stop trying to guess about what Africa needs, what we need to bring to Africa, but engage with Africans. And that's where people like me and Osita, who also really navigate different parts of the globe, we can be your partner to understand what are you looking for, how can we support you, engage with Africa as an equal partner where there's a win-win partnership.
Pauline, is there a presence? Do you have chapters and or representatives in other areas of Africa that help you?
Yes, so we have what we call champion and venture partners in the market. Nigeria is a priority country for us, by the way, so we are now structuring a team in Nigeria that should be up and running next year. We have worked with a team in Ghana. Our SHIBA team was based in Ghana and Mali. We have partners in market where we have invested in, like Kenya, South Africa. I just came back from Zambia and South Africa, and again, there was reactivating the network because, I think what many of us have understood clearly now is we have to partner, we have to collaborate.
There's nothing more to do. Yes.
Yeah, we have to.
There's no other option. No other option. If we don't partner, we fail. In Africa, it's either you partner or you pass.
Yeah. And for us as a fund, 30 million sounds like a lot to some people, but for people in the fund management, it's very small. Strategically, you can't have also people in every market on a payroll. but you can engage with the key partner in the market where then you focus your resources on a key intervention, either adding value to the company, but also putting money into the hands of the founders. So that's really our unique strategy that we're taking. And we're able to do that again because we apply the saying that I love in Africa, that it takes a village. So the phase one for ShEquity has been about reactivating the village.
Yeah.
And that has worked beautifully. That's now we are confident about phase two, that we can actually be able to do this even faster than we have done before with partners.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
kind of think you've got two new partners of some sort here. And I think Osita and I have a lot to talk about. And then I think we need to come back together again, because I'd
Exactly.
like to add a
Exactly.
couple of people to the mix that would be interesting for you. And I do believe Osita might want to bring his daughter to connect with you. I think that might be
Yeah.
a good thing
Oh,
at
yeah.
some point. For
Of
sure.
course.
But, we've come to our end at this point, but I want to just let everybody know that if you have this inclination, you can't put your money in better places than to serve this big greater good that we have here of gender equality and in Africa, and not just gender equality, but lifting up that gender so that they can continue doing on a bigger scale what they've been doing, a lot of them on smaller scales, and keep that dream burning so that they can create more opportunities for men and women in Africa and create that economic development that's needed. It's an engine, as we know. Osita and I've talked about that forever. Economic development, that's, entrepreneurship is the engine and the heart and soul, and education gets us there as well. So I want to say thank you, Pauline. This is not the last time we'll be talking, as we know, but definitely the beginning of something really wonderful. And Osita, always good to have you. And thank you for contributing your comments and your questions and your interjection here. This, I think, is the beginning of a good relationship here. So I look forward to seeing what else can happen from there. So I'm going to ask everybody else who may be watching, if you would like to get a hold of either of these individuals, you go to frontrunnersdevelopment.com. It used to be Innovate, but now it's frontrunnersdevelopment.com. And you're going to get this interview and then ways to connect them via LinkedIn with these individuals. So if you need to talk to them, or you can just contact me and I will help you get in touch. Yes, thank you so much. Happy holidays to everybody. If you two will stay with me, I'm saying goodbye to everyone, and we'll see you next time on Frontrunners Innovate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to
Thank
tell
you.
my daughter about you, Pauline.